So this video might actually get published during Halloween, if everything works out that it should. So if you're watching it during Halloween, hope you're having a good Halloween. And if you're watching it after Halloween, I hope you had a great Halloween. Ruff, ruff. Hey guys, it's your Bo the Doggo, and welcome back to Winds of Change, episode 22. Yeah! Some good news happened last episode. Pro didn't die, and Ulrich didn't die, and they are friends, and that was their plan all along in some way, and we're gonna learn, hopefully in this episode, how they managed to fool everyone that Ulrich killed Pro. So we will learn that now in this episode, and also just before we learned that Pro was alive, Sovy appeared and told that he would give us his allegiance or something. I don't really remember. But he was like, oh, I'm gonna tell you who the mole in your fence is. But can we trust him? Who knows? Maybe we can't. We will find out in this episode. So, yeah, let's go. When we all get on the ship, it starts to set sail within moments. It seems that Ulrich and Pro wants to expedite the departure from Alarenthia. They continue to look at us with smiles on their faces. To themselves, they had succeeded. But in what exactly? That's what I demanded to know as I stepped forward. If I was in charge, I couldn't have them plotting behind my back. Everybody gathered around to listen as our ship gently rocks back and forth. Though relieved that there were no real casualties, we needed to know what was going on. If they wanted to leave so fast, was it so bad that we could never come back to Alarenthia?
Whoa, it's not that bad, trust me. But it's definitely the biggest score of my life. I mean, swindle an entire nation? Amazing!
You are amazing. Oh. He continues talking, his pride apparent.
It all started after the attack on our HQ. Domek cheated death, and we rose from the ashes. Then, we were going to Alarenthia, where I knew we'd be fighting. So I thought, what if we could cheat death again, but to our advantage? There was so much room for error that we stepped in to even the odds. I knew that Ulrich would side with Vivian regardless, so I went to him.
I didn't want to work with Pro at first. It seemed like a plan doomed to failure. Could we really cheat an entire nation, right in front of their own eyes? Obviously, it sounds impossible, but Pro was pretty insistent. He came up with a solid plan. I'd fight with Vivian, and he'd fight with Draku. If we were both on opposing teams, we could throw the battle in any direction. So that's what we did. We ensured victory for the side the monarch chose.
Uh-huh.
It was easy enough to manipulate Draku. I mean, he thought he was the one manipulating us. But it was my plan all along to fight by his side. After that, all we needed was this.
He holds up a dagger, the same one he used from the Colosseum. Stabbing it through his hand, that's when the real true nature of the weapon was revealed. Rather than piercing his hand, the blade sunk into the hand of the dagger. It was a fake. Though the sword that Ulrich smashed my face in with was not fake, I can tell.
Along with some chaos and acting, they'd believe the battle was over. The chaos, of course, was the moment the monarch used the blade. We pushed you toward using it so we could have our opportunity.
That's really all there is to it. None of you could know until it was already over. If information was leaked, everything would be for nothing.
I see.
You're free to come back to Alarenthia, but we might stay behind. It was just in our best interest to get away before they figured things out. So yeah, a new alliance, minimal casualties, and a great story. I'd say this was an all-around success, wouldn't you?
Well, tell that to my nose.
Yeah, I can't believe we really pulled it off. I think this might just be my masterpiece.
They wait in silence for our response, but their faces are beaming with pride. It seemed like a simple plan though, but it was definitely risky. The moment we set foot in the Colosseum, they were in real danger. But that only shows their resolve. They were willing to die for this. However, something feels off about this. It's all too perfect, too convenient. I'm not sure. Ulrich was willing to throw everything away? I mean, I sided with Vivian, but that wasn't a guarantee. Had I sided with Draku, he'd lose his chance to change Alarenthia. There had to be more to this story. Something they're not telling us. I'd have to talk to them in private later. Maybe they could confide in me. But as it stood, I didn't really buy the tale. Would they really risk their lives for a foreign alliance? My comrades seemed to think so, and they showered them with praise.
That might be the coolest thing I've ever heard. I knew you were a swindler, Pro, but this is crazy. You're using your skill to shape Alestia's history.
And Ulrich, I never knew you were so good at acting. You really had me sold there. I almost can't believe it. It felt like something was up, but to think it was this?
Almost puts my strategizing to shame, I have to say. So what's the next step? Is it just smooth sailing now? I imagine our chances of getting caught are pretty low.
You should probably tell Vivian what really went down. I doubt he'd mind, and at least he wouldn't find out another way. In the meantime, we need to have a word with our new prisoner.
Right, I'll tell him while you do that then. But I think we've also earned some much-needed rest. Let's take the day off and meet back up here in the morning. That is, if it's okay with you, Monarch.
Of course. I nod and tell everybody that they're dismissed. Everybody runs off, except for Ulrich and Pro. They approach me and they look anxious.
Sovy is in the brig, right? Can't believe he surrendered. Just like that.
And I heard him say something about a mole? Let's go talk with him, Monarch. You deserve some answers.
Thank you.
Yeah, let Dominic pamper Vivian for the time being. But before we head to the brig, look behind us, Monarch. It's starting to look like an impressive army, isn't it?
Yeah. I do as instructed and notice that we're accompanied with at least a dozen ships. If that was the strength of our new Alaranthian army, then I was at a loss for words. That fleet, combined with our own, and my blade, stood a real chance in Baltius. But I couldn't lull myself into a false sense of security. There was still so much to do. And right now, the next step was having a word with Sovy. Just what was he after? The fact that Ulrich and Pro volunteered to come along was also pretty peculiar. The pieces have started to fall into place, but there's still quite a few gaps. Maybe this information that Sovy promised would help me in some way. We all head down to the brig, and I'm hopeful that we could all figure this out. After all, I could leave no question unanswered before attacking Baltius. And resting in our brig was one man who knew everything about our enemy. If we could use him for information, then that would be an incredible boon. As we enter the brig, one fact plays on repeat in my ever-running mind. With everything we just gained, we actually stand a chance of winning this war. Ooh, that's good. Oh, this was cool picture. I like this. The brig is dark and we can't see much at all. That is until our eyes adjust and we immediately see Sovy. He's broken free from his binds and is doing pull-ups from the ceiling beam. Grunting with exertion, he let himself fall to the ground when he notices our entrance. Taking a few steps towards us, he's careful not to make any sudden movements. Pro makes sure that the cell door is shut and locked, so he can't escape from us.
My, I wasn't expecting an entourage. Should I be flattered or concerned for my safety?
How about a little of both? An obvious attempt at humor, but none of us acknowledge this. Ulrich steps forward, demanding swift answer from our captive.
Explain yourself, Sovy. I'm seconds away from throwing you overboard.
Again with the hostility. Look, I don't even really know what I'm doing here. It just felt like the right thing to do, given the circumstances.
What circumstances?
Sovy looks at me and shakes his head dismissively.
Back when we attacked your HQ in Mazeo, my goal was to kill your friend and retrieve the blade. I failed both objectives, and the Triumvirate punished me.
I see.
It's true, Sovy did show me mercy during his brief encounter. Right, and that's why I'm alive now. Thanks to him. I forgot about that. He had my life in his hands, but he chose to run away instead. He saw something when he touched the blade. I could tell. And now that I know the truth of the spirit realm, I think I knew what he saw. The monarchy. He must have seen the same truth that shocked all of us. I ask if that's true, almost certain that I'm correct. Then he confirms.
You are correct. I found out that the Triumvirate was lying to me. I let you live because I wasn't sure of what to do next. I'm still uncertain. When I got back to Balteus, they punished me by placing me in exile.
You expect us to believe this? Sovy, you're nothing but a mindless slave. The monarch survived because of his strength.
I tell Ulrich that Sovy is speaking the truth. I explain what happened while we were all near the idol.
See, Ulrich? You're always so paranoid. Listen to your friends before making snap judgments. I have a lot to say, so you better learn to trust me again.
Don't count on it.
Ulrich does what Ulrich does best, and walks away and stands in a nearby corner. Sensing an opportunity, Pro enters the conversation.
So, what did you want to tell us? Around here, you need to earn your keep. Ulrich was serious about throwing you overboard.
Well, this is where it gets complicated. I still consider myself a servant to the Triumvirate. But Halen? Well, I want nothing more than to see him fall.
Now that's rude, but I can see where you're coming from.
I'm not here to hurt any of you. Not this time. As you can see, even though I broke out of my binds, I am playing nice. Right now, all I can offer is information to aid your attack on Balteus.
Ooh.
And why would you want to help us take down the Triumvirate?
Doing so would involve taking down Halen as well. He sold me out and got me into this whole mess.
Okay, and let's say we take down Halen. What then? You'd be reinstated as Inquisitor and just stab us in the back.
You speak as if people aren't capable of playing both sides. Either way, I don't know. I'd make my choice when the time comes.
And what makes you say that so easily? You've served the Triumvirate for your entire life.
No, not my entire life. They welcomed me with open arms when I was young and broken. Now here they are, inflicting the same wounds they had promised to heal.
Is that supposed to make sense to me?
No, because it barely makes sense to me. Now, Pro, will you let me say what I have to say?
Sure.
Sure. Sovy sighs and crosses his arms.
If you want to take down the Triumvirate, you'll have to enter their chambers. I've never seen them leave, and I don't expect that they ever will. I always thought they were hiding, but I don't think that's true.
Do you think that they're like bound to the chambers in some way?
There's something at the back of their chambers. Something off. It's like a spirit idol, but the very sight of it fills me with fear. I'm not sure what it is, but I have a few theories about it.
A game theory. I'm shocked. He's actually telling me the truth. I've seen this idol in my visions of the Triumvirate. Could it really be true? Is he doubting his masters?
I think that maybe it's their source of power, but I'm probably wrong, as that seems to be the trend lately. Either way, its destruction should be your top priority.
It lines up with what I was told in my visions, but I was unsure if those visions were tricks. In them, I was drawn towards this special idol.
A spirit idol in their own chambers? But those are conduits for the monarchy. It makes no sense that they'd keep one close by.
What if the Triumvirates are a part of the monarchy, but maybe like a split of faction or something from the monarch? There were like 2 or 3 of them who like split away from the monarchs and were like, haha, we're gonna do our own thing. But also, why were there only 2 statues then outside the church?
Their main goal was to destroy all of the idols. Nice try, but I'm not going to believe any of this. Let's go, Monarch. We'll ditch him in Mazeo.
No, not so fast, Pro. Then Pro and Ulrich start to leave. but I tell them to stop. I let them know that Sovy is telling the truth, as odd as it sounds. I saw the same idol in some of the visions I had of the Triumvirate's chambers.
Visions of the Triumvirate's chambers.
When were you going to tell us about this?
Sovy scoffs, clearly amused at their reactions.
I'm not finished yet.
Our attention is directly back towards him.
I suggest that your attack focuses on entering their chambers. There, you could take down both them and this dark idol. However, you would have to fight your way through Halen.
Uh-oh.
And that's where my next piece of information comes in. Halen may seem just like you and I, but he's not. The Triumvirate created him with that blade.
What? What? What?
He was made to be the perfect soldier. He would always serve his masters, no matter what. Little did I know that loyalty was stronger than our friendship.
Wow, okay, then okay.
He promised not to tell them what happened. But the moment we got home, he sold me out immediately. He lives under the Triumvirate's thrall. A true mindless slave.
Kind of scary, actually.
You must never let them get their hands on that blade again. They aren't limited to suits of armor. They've mastered it enough to create life. Of course, their first test was Halen. They needed someone trustworthy enough to serve them. I think they did it to ensure that nobody else ran away. My previous master, the former Grand Inquisitor, defected. I trusted Halen and the Triumvirate. They all betrayed me. But there's your information. I'm sure it will help you out. A possible weakness, and the true nature of Halen. With that blade, you could even give him freedom. It would release the spell that the Triumvirate has put on him. Of course, that's not how I'd like things to play out.
So, you say that they created Halen as just a person, and then they put the spell on him to make him loyal to them. So we can remove that spell to make him not loyal to them, but he will still be like someone who was created by them, but he won't be loyal. He smirks at me, and I can tell what he's about to say.
I would prefer it if you let me kill him, Monarch. That is all I ask for in return. I won't get in your way. If you grant me this, I would be further in your debt.
Ah, so that seems like it's gonna be a choice in later in the game. Will I let Halen go, or will I let Sovy kill him? We all look at each other, slightly confused. The Triumvirate created Halen to be a perfect slave? I guess it makes sense, especially if they're dealt with defection. But just what was this idol back in their chambers? And was destroying it really the best course of action? I guess we wouldn't find out until the very end of things.
So, do you trust me?
We all nod reluctantly. These facts weren't revelations, but they did help. If I could free Halen, he might end up being a valuable asset. However, the idol remained the true wildcard in all of this. If I ever got the chance to talk with the Triumvirate, I'd ask them. But something tells me, if we're face to face, it won't be civil. And for all that I know, it's just a trick. The idol could be a red herring.
Good. Because there's 2 more things to talk about. And now that I've earned your trust, you have no reason to doubt them. I saved them for last because, well, it involves dishonesty among your ranks.
Okay, just spill the beans then. It must be about the mole he mentioned. I tell him to quit dancing around the subject and tell me. We had a lot of planning to do for our final attack, and very little time.
Well then, do you 2 want to tell him, or should I?
What? Pro and Ulrich shuffles in silence, clearly in a state of unease. What was Sovy talking about? There's no way Ulrich and Pro was dishonest. They had served Damek and sailors for decades. They were easily the most trustworthy.
I guess it's time. I'll go first.
What? Ulrich steps forward, taking a deep breath. Sovy watches with his signature smirk.
My allegiance is with the rebellion. I can promise you that. But that wasn't always the case. It's all in the past. Ages ago. Sovy is trying to harm our trust with ancient information, Monarch. I knew this was going to happen. You'd earn your trust with a couple of interesting facts and then attack. This is subterfuge. My past has no bearing on my current loyalty. But I knew this secret would come out sooner or later. That's the real reason I sided with Pro to cheat the Colosseum. You'd know my loyalty was with you, no matter what.
Yeah, that much is true. He had no guarantee that I would side with Vivian. He didn't have to in the end, but he was willing to abandon his dream. That was proof enough of his loyalty, but I was still a bit concerned.
Delaying, as always. He's scared of you, Monarch. He knows you might throw him away.
What?
No. The Monarch would never do that. Not after what I did for our cause in Alarinthia. So go ahead, Sovy. Watch your plan crumble and fall.
No, I wouldn't throw. I trust Ulrich since he didn't actually kill Pro. I actually trust Ulrich more now. Not that I didn't trust him before, but I trust Ulrich. I noticed a weight lift itself from my back. The blade disappeared from my scabbard. Sovy is doing it again. However, much to my surprise, that's not what happens next. Ulrich sighs in both relief and fright as the blade appears in his hands. Was Ulrich the previous Grandmaster? Was I right about that? I take a few steps back, shocked. How in the world is this possible?
Grand Inquisitor Ulrich. That was lifetimes ago. Ancient history. He's using a dead past to try and hurt us, Monarch.
I knew it! I fucking knew it! Ulrich was a Grand Inquisitor? Then he must be in the defector that Sovy mentioned. And Sovy's old master. Oh my god! The pieces of all of these are starting to fall into place.
I realized that the Triumvirate was my true enemy. That's when I decided to join the rebellion. You really thought this would work, Sovy?
I never said I was intending to hurt you. This is merely information that might help you in Balteus. Ulrich has inside knowledge, Monarch, and he can wield the blade.
What a motherfucker.
It's your choice if you let this information hurt you. But in your situation, I would be relieved to know. Now, there's no need to keep any more secrets.
I'm so confused right now. Was Sovy helping us or trying to hurt us? I can see how he might think that Ulrich's past would harm our trust, but I can also see how sharing this information would help us out. Furthermore, the way Ulrich handled this situation was extremely professional. Under any other circumstances, I might have taken this information badly. But he's right, it's in the past. He's gone to prove his loyalty to me. The happenings in Alarinthia finally make full sense to me. He was actually securing my trust for when this secret came out to light. Genius, really. I'd have to deal with him more later though. This conversation had the potential to explode, and I'm glad that it didn't. I know Ulrich's real plan, but Pro still remains a wild card. What was he after? I turn to face him, and he takes that as a signal that it's his turn to talk. Ulrich passes the blade back to me, and I place it in the scabbard. Pro looks worried. Perhaps his secret was worse than Ulrich's.
Go on. Tell the Monarch, Pro. It's time for him to know, don't you think?
He gulps before speaking.
So, I guess I'll start from the beginning. My parents abandoned me. They didn't die in the occupation like I tell everybody. I've always wanted to know one thing. Why?
Uh-huh.
None of my searches gave me any useful information, so over time I grew more and more desperate. One day, the Triumvirate reached out to me.
He looks down, ashamed.
They said they knew the truth about my parents. But in exchange, they wanted me to give them information. Details about the rebellion. It seemed like a harmless exchange.
Pro was the mole.
But over time, they started to ask for more and more. I gave them so many secrets, but got nothing in return. It wasn't much longer before I quit. I had enough of their lies.
But the damage was already done, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What was the last thing you leaked to them, Pro?
Where the rebellion's base was and how to get to it, maybe?
The location of our new HQ. The tunnels. It was a good hideout, right under their noses. They'd never find it, unless somebody told them.
Pro. Oh, I'm shocked to my core. If Pro leaked our location, then that means...
That's right. Pro is responsible. His leak enabled us to attack you in Mazeo. All of those lives. The blood is on his hands.
Pro, why you do this to me?
No! Like I said, I quit. They lied to me. They knew nothing about my parents. All they wanted was somebody gullible enough to serve them.
It doesn't change what happened, Pro. Now, Monarch, how do you take this?
I forgive you, Pro.
Hey, I proved my loyalty. Just like Ulrich. I put my life on the line to serve the rebellion. There was no guarantee we'd survive the Colosseum.
That much was true. I knew everything was too good to be true. The real reason they did what they did were all self-serving. It was so that they could defend themselves as they were exposed. With an ulterior motive like that, were they really trustworthy? Ulrich's past was easy to forgive, but what Pro did to all of us? I had no idea how to react. Sovy was fighting a war in my mind.
Look, I made up for what I did. All those lives we lost, we got them back, and more. Our Alarinthian allies will help us win this war, hands down.
I nod, acknowledging his point. But I need more time to think about this. If they had secrets, did my other comrades too? I'm starting to doubt the loyalty of everybody around me. I need to stop. That's probably what Sovy wants me to do. I need to ensure everybody's loyalty before we leave to Baltius. Ah, so that's the loyalty thing is we gotta do. Yeah, on the war table. I wonder if I will need to get Sovy's loyalty as well. Ulrich was the previous Grand Inquisitor? And Pro was a mole responsible for the attack on Mazeo? How was I supposed to deal with this right before the final battle? I asked Ulrich and Pro to leave me alone with Sovy. We'd get some rest and meet up on the deck in the morning. One big gathering before we arrive at Mazeo would help. I can see the worry on their faces, so I tell them that I'm not throwing them away. As I leave, the worry is still there, however. Their secrets were finally out. I don't know if anyone else knew, but I guess that was enough. I'm in charge. I turn back to Sovy, who crosses his arms.
So much dishonesty in the air, wouldn't you agree? I want you to look at your comrades and then look at me. Unlike them, I've been nothing but honest with you.
But you also have had no reason to lie to me, Sovy.
I would rather have an honest enemy than a cheating friend. That's part of why I wanted to talk with you, Monarch. I know that we can be open with one another.
So is it gonna be like the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and now you are enemy with Halin and Triumvirate, and I am also enemy with Triumvirate and Halin, so we are friends now? I shake my head, unsure how to respond. I tell him that I need some rest, some time alone. So much was happening all at once, I needed a break.
Very well. We're meeting on the deck come morning then? I'll make sure to be on my best behavior. I respect you, Monarch. I always told myself that I'd serve the rightful rulers of this world.
So you're telling me that you will serve me?
It just Seems like I was also lied to by the Triumvirate. Just like Ulrich. Just like Pro. We're victims here. All of us. I may have realized it late, but was it too late? I guess we'll see.
Though, Sovy, who lied to Shane? Was it the Triumvirate? His attitude seems to change now that we were alone. I can sympathize with him. He's hurt and lost. Just like all of us. We're just trying to do what we believe is right. I tell him that he's free to join us at the meeting in the morning. But everybody will be told who he is, and it will be up to them to decide how they take it. If the majority of my comrades want him gone, then we'll have to part ways in Mazeo.
Very well. It's only fair. Have a good rest, Monarch.
You too, Sovy. Good night. He bows to me, and I turn to leave the cell. I make sure that it's locked tight. He'd be let out in the morning. For now, I needed to be alone with my thoughts. I needed to process everything. Oh, so much going on. I make my way back to my bed and quickly collapse onto it. The weight of my recent events weights me down like a ton of bricks. At the end of the day, I didn't know who I could trust really. It's awful. Ulrich and Pro, two of my most trusted comrades, had the dark secrets. It makes me wonder just what everyone else was hiding, even Valessan Fortem. When we got back to Baltius, I needed to ensure their loyalty before we attacked Baltius. We couldn't embark on the biggest part of our journey without unresolved issues. Everybody needed to be on tip-top shape, not held down by anything at all. As big as Ulrich's and Pro's secrets were, it's information we didn't have before. Information we could use against our enemies and against Baltius. We were too close to our goal to fall apart due to internal politics. I drift off to sleep and make my way to the deck in the morning. It was time for everybody to know about Sovy, and then we'd have a final discussion about what comes next. We were ready to launch our attack, but what should we do? Everybody standing there, as if they were waiting for me to arrive. They all exchange glances with Sovy, and the unease fills the air. I don't blame them for being reserved right now, not at all. They all turn to face me, so that's when I hand the floor to Sovy. If he wanted to help us out, he'd have to win over my entire crew. The choice was with me, but all of their input was important. All of us gathered around in a sort of circle. This meant that he can easily address all of us. I'm curious what he has to say. A lot is on the line.
My name is Sovy. I am, or was, the Grand Inquisitor. I no longer serve the Triumvirate. I was betrayed by my apprentice. He sold me out, forcing my masters to place me in exile. They threw me away. Everything they ever told me was a lie. I thought they were Alestia's rightful rulers, but then I figured out that this wasn't true. The heir to the throne is the monarch. I am a victim of their tyranny, just as you are, all of you. I hope you understand. I'm still at a loss. I don't really know what to do with myself, but coming here to meet with you and the monarch seemed like a good idea. Last night, I also revealed some information that could help your upcoming attack. I just need to know that I belong somewhere. Attacking the Triumvirate will involve taking down Halen. We share a common purpose, at least until he's taken care of. After that, I really don't know. I've always pledged my loyalty to the rightful ruler of Alestia. Logic would dictate that I now serve the monarch. But I don't know. The Triumvirate can throw people away at the snap of a finger, but I'm not like that. What they did was hurt me almost beyond repair. I will help you attack Balteus and take down Halen. You have my word. But after that, I don't know what will happen. In that sense, I am both an asset and a liability. If you want me to leave, then that's what I'll do. When we get to Mazeo, you'll never see me again. That is, unless you want my help. I can offer valuable intel. It's a gamble for both you and me. I don't fully trust you either. But hopefully I've earned a sliver of trust with the monarch. If he vouches for me, then hopefully you will as well. That is all. My fate is in your hands. I have nothing more to say.
He crosses his arms, waiting for our reply. My comrades are all in shock and confused, save for Pro and Ulrich. I ask them to step forward one by one and offer their thoughts on this. For once, I have the grasp on an entire situation. This is how things should be. Like Sovy said, I was the rightful ruler. I couldn't have people being dishonest and plotting behind my back.
I honestly didn't expect this, but nothing has been normal lately. I'm willing to give Sovy a chance. I did the same thing with Grizz. His defection marked a turning point for our cause, a big one.
True.
If he can help us out, then I think we need to accept it. And if he turns against us, then he's easily outnumbered. The potential benefits outweigh the potential risks.
This is clearly a trap. We request that you deny his assistance. He's alone now, but he won't be when we arrive in Baltius. If we give him information, he'll turn on us once we get there. Surely we aren't the only one who thinks this way. An alliance with our enemy mere days before our attack. It's too convenient. Sovy is playing us for a fool.
He could actually be, Jesus Christ. Because I guess if he thinks that, maybe he thinks that if he can get me and kill me and bring the blade back to the Triumvirate, he will become the Grand Inquisitor again and the rightful ruler of Alestia will be dead. And the Triumvirate will, I guess, be the rightful rulers.
I'm with Hal on this one. We can't work with the enemy. This is the man that killed you and burned down Valinor in your vision. I know it was a trick, but the man is the same. He's a trained killer. For that reason, I can't accept his offer. Fortum, you're with me, right?
He's not.
I don't know, Valessa. I think everybody deserves a second chance. We all had that moment when we turned against the Triumvirate. Why is it so hard to believe that Sovy might have that moment? He worked so closely with them. He's seen their true nature. He has more knowledge on them than anybody else in our army. It makes sense that he'd come to the same realization as us. I mean, sure, it took a while longer, but that's because he served them. When you remove the excuse of loyalty, it can become pretty clear. That's why he didn't fully realize things until they put him in exile.
Yeah, I'm with Fortem. Everybody deserves a second chance. We've all been there before. We've all made a wrong decision or two. There's no better way to make up for it than doing the right thing.
Sovy isn't concerned with doing the right thing. He's a liar, plain and simple. There's no way we can trust him. He'd turn on us the moment we arrived in Balteus. That's a guarantee. Letting him close to us now would only enable him to gather information. If he knows our strategy, he can counter us with the Inquisition when we arrive. It's a death sentence, Monarch. Don't be foolish. We've come too far to risk this.
It seems that my comrades are divided, but with good reason. I was hoping for something more unanimous, in any given direction. It was clear that now the pressure and final decision rested on my shoulder.
Well, Monarch?
Allow Sovy to assist the rebellion or deny Sovy's offer, and make him leave. I honestly think that it's safer to have him close than to have him somewhere else where he can sneak up on us later. And I also think since he lets me live, I think there is something going on with Sovy. That I actually think that he is departing from the Triumvirate. So I'm going to allow him to assist the rebellion. It was a risk that I was willing to take for our cause. The information he could offer us would make us so much stronger. If we got suspicious of him before the attack, we could easily outnumber him.
Very well.
He takes a few steps back and rests against the edge of the boat. A few minutes later, after everything is said and done, we arrive in Mazeo. The docking process is short, since our pirate allies are master of their art. Jesus, it's raining now. Oh my god. Damek steps forward, filling the silence that overtook our ranks.
Well, this is it. We're ready to attack Balteus. Everything we've ever wanted is finally within our grasp. The voyage will take a day or two, so we can plan on the way. For now, we need to ensure that we leave no stone unturned. Visit with your loved ones, say your goodbyes, because this is it. Once we leave for Balteus, our fates are as good as sealed.
His words are true, but fill the air with tension. The dawn of our final battle was here, and we needed to prepare. But planning the attack was easy. Our true task was accepting our possible death. This means saying goodbye and spending a final day or two with all of our friends. I should use this opportunity to make sure that everybody is prepared for the final battle. As a leader, it was my job to ensure that we were all up for the task, no matter what.
I don't think there's anything left to say. Finish up your business, and we'll set sail when the monarch demands it. Act under the assumption that you only have 1 or 2 days before departure. I don't want to rush anything as important as a goodbye, but every moment we waste is a moment for our enemy to prepare. I trust that we'll find a happy medium and embark without regret.
Everybody nods, agreeing with his words. I can't believe that the time was finally here. Until now, it seems like a dream, out of reach. But it's right in front of me. This is it. Our journey was in its final hours, a tense up with worry. We make our way to the boat, embracing what little time we had left. Troops morale has risen by 10%, okay. Loyalty scenes are now available for the 6 main party members. Howl has a 4th heart-to-heart that is hidden in one of the previous areas. Loyalty scenes can be accessed by clicking on the character icon on the war table. Fast travel has now been unlocked, allowing easy navigation through Alestia. A new blue icon has appeared on the top left of areas. Click it to move to the world map. Oh, that's neat. The world map allows for easy navigation between every other map in the game. The world map is also how you will launch a final attack on Balteus. Clicking the Balteus map icon will give you the choice of entering Act 5. However, it's best to do this only once you're satisfied with the content you've done. Sovy has now permanently joined your party. Ooh! A series of heart-to-heart has been hidden all over Alestia. A loyalty scene has been added, accessed like normal from the war table. Cool! Oh, okay, so that's the world map then. Open world map? Oh, cool, this is what it looks... Oh, and here I see all my choices I've made. Was this the last one? You let Sovy assist the rebellion. Ah. So, till the next episode, I will find out where those hidden things are. Where Sovy's stuff are and where Howl's hidden 4th heart-to-heart is. So we can get to them at once when we start the next episode. But for now, we're ending it here. So if you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. You know about the Patreon, you know about the Discord server, because this is episode 22 and you heard me say this over 20 times. I'm actually really excited to get to the ending of this. So yeah, no need to do much more. I love you all, guys. Take care, and remember that you are loved and appreciated. And I want to see you in the next episode. Bye! That was probably the shortest outro I've done ever.